their body. What sound makes them stronger?
That's reminiscent of Sherry Edwards' work.
Yes.
Signature Sound.
Yeah.
We've had her on the show as well.
Excellent. Yeah, she's very, very profound.
In her case, though, she can just look at you
and tell what sound?
Yeah, what notes are missing.
Amazing.
From one's entire overall
spectrum. Yeah, the idea being that we should have a balanced symphony within our entire body, and our voice is that kind of like the keynote of what's going on.
So once you detect, Steve, the missing note, what do you do to supply it?
Basically, we use the tuning forks. We'll actually sometimes use something that comes from Europe, a technique called Flyborg sound therapy, which actually uses tapes of frequencies, which has been around for many years. It has frequencies of the actual cells of each organ and of the major spinal centers or chakras for each part of the body. Many of these discoveries take place throughout the world, but primarily in my own practice, I prefer to utilize the tuning forks, the gong, my own voice, and my hands to detect energy. When the energy starts to move, you can feel that. And some people learn how to see it as well. The effect of using sound is so powerful because, first off, you can use it in a gentle way, and besides that, the ability for you to ask the body what it needs and how much it needs exactly is more exact than any technical science may determine from your blood chemistry or other things, because that's constantly changing. And you may need a different note the next time another week later.
As far as you're concerned, muscle testing is more precise.
It's not the muscle testing itself, but it's the accessing through the nervous system. That in and of itself is a very
How are you
powerful
accessing?
tool. Basically, like if you would take one arm,
through muscle testing.
Through muscle testing, and then also being able to,
as a test, what you're saying is that muscle testing, kinesiology, is more precise than doing blood chemistries.
I don't utilize muscle testing against blood chemistries, but because blood chemistries are constantly changing, and the ability to be able to.
So all I'm doing is taking what you said and giving it back to you in a slightly more kind of sharpened way.
It's true. Focus.
And what you're saying, many people who do kinesiology agree. They say it's far more precise.
It is,
because just as you said, blood chemistry is always changing.
But then what
literally
happens
minutes and
sometimes
minutes.
is, and then some people have the argument that a different practitioner will test that same person and get a different result.
Okay, so there are other variables to control for.
It's kind of like any system in which you are operating in unison with another person's nervous system. The clarity that's going on in the question that you ask and the intention and how you ask that question has a lot to do with
the outcome.
Yeah, definitely.
Very good point. Yeah.
So when blood tests aren't available, I would definitely rely upon kinesiology.
Would you rely on it anyway?
I think so, and especially because
many chiropractors do.
Yes. And the variability that takes place.
Many non-chiropractors do.
Also, they don't talk about it as much, but yes. The variability that we know of false positives and blood tests even is many times a problem. And the fact that you can test a muscle and, when you have to take blood from the same arm, after a while it starts to get overly taxed.
Sure, absolutely. You've done some interesting work with children.
Yes, in the last couple of years.
With sound. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Mostly we've been doing work with autistic children, in a school setting, and some of it's also been patients who come and bring their children, in many cases younger and some older. We've had children as young as 3 and 4, and adults who were considered to be schizophrenic or given some diagnosis that didn't really fit them exactly. And
what's been happening with the sound, the effect of sound on the autistic children?
Yeah.
First, and then we'll get into schizophrenia. Sure. I think that's fascinating.
With autism, there's a great deal of non-communicative.
There is hope, folks.
There is hope. In the case with autistic children, their communicative skills are very, very few. Many times, numbers of kids we've had, in particular, a couple, wouldn't speak at all. They wouldn't talk. They would just scream when they wanted to have something told or done for them.
Sounds like a lot of people I know.
Mm-hmm. And it's true, right? We all start to have a certain amount of something like that inside of us.
Yeah.
And but these particular kids, what happened was, for instance, in one case, we had a child who he was non-communicative, didn't speak at all. Basically would scream at the top of his lungs to get some, attention. Mm-hmm. We started off by using the gongs, and then instruments such as a rain stick and other types of things that he was able to play with and move himself. And as a result of working with these, we started getting not just communication, but we actually had interaction where he would bring his hands together and clap them when he wanted the gong to be hit. And he would come over and look at me and point down to the conch shell when he wanted it to be blown. Oh. And then he actually came over, which was a breakthrough. His mother was quite impressed. He actually walked over, took the mallet, and was able to hit the gong repeatedly to build up the sound the exact same way that I had done a moment or two before. He was able to come out and communicate. It's almost as if somebody kind of goes back within their shell, so to speak. No pun intended about the con. But if they're able to have sounds, that sound which awakens them and starts to bring them out is kind of like the conch that you blew at time at that meditative site. It's a way of making somebody emerge out of a space where they have found comfort because of fear. And generally, there is a lot of evidence that says that autistic children, in some way, shape, or form, have developed this withdrawal of their sensory output because they just determine somehow that the outside world is very threatening, which it is in some ways, and or they have experiences which don't let them feel like they can trust. And that sound starts to help make them emerge and feel like it's safe. And then by having that sound, being able for them to reproduce it themselves, we've actually got them to be communicative and to actually take another step forward and start to have some trust that it's okay to express themselves and even begin to speak.
Over how much time have you worked with these children?
Last 2 years about now.
And so from beginning to now, you see...
quite a bit of change. Numbers of kids have, in some cases, have actually gone out of the program where they were non-educable and now have found that they can begin to form letters and begin to do more of what a normal type of child would in terms of learning. Because a great deal of their therapy for the autistic kids is mostly play, mostly kicking a ball or going in a circle, listening to music. And we use marching music because that's very effective to bring them into unison, so to speak. But primarily, we've been utilizing the tuning forks, the gong, and I've been utilizing my own voice with them. In addition, one thing that we have utilized in our office, really wonderful results from, is a sonic table where the actual kids will lay down and receive. In some cases, a number of the kids were deaf, but they actually still felt the sounds because it vibrated through the bones and tissues, and they were actually more relaxed. And it's just good for us in general too, in terms of stress.
Here we have another example of subaudioal sound and having profound physiological effect
as well.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Are there particular patients that you've worked with that have gotten results, you think, primarily due to the use of sound that you would like to tell us about?
Sure.
That you feel maybe particularly proud of?
Well, one in particular was a woman many years ago who had been involved in yoga quite a bit and had a fixation problem in his shoulder. Had gone to many different doctors, not had any success. And after some period of time of working through the normal type of physical therapy and adjustments in the area, working with the muscles, decided to utilize sound. And the tuning forks were helpful, but the most powerful tool we found was using the gong and using my own voice to actually tone.
Your voice?
My own voice.
Not hers?
No, her voice was utilized in one aspect. There was a great deal of pain and trauma locked inside this particular person's right shoulder. By utilizing her voice to help the pain emerge, we matched tones. I got her to start to tone the kind of pain that she was feeling. You know, when someone starts to moan, the actual act of moaning helps release the energy that's blocked up inside.
Yeah.
And what I did was, this was, in a sense, back in the experimenting days, I utilized my hands over the area and then felt where the energy I felt was blocked. Then I asked her to tone, or just basically sound, the area of pain and how hurt that area felt by utilizing those sounds and matching the frequency that she was toning, describing her own pain, that kind of moaning. We were able to affect a release of the pain from that area. Following that, by utilizing the gong, we actually got mobility of the shoulder back. And that was very, very rewarding. One case was really, really exciting.
Did that happen in one session?
No, it took a period of about a month. Yeah. But the culmination of the change took place at like in a full 1 hour session. Yeah, it was quite
so there was
amazing.
Preparation, but then there was the release.
Release itself took place.
Great. And then there was what?
Was one other case of a person who was told they had a congenital defect. A fellow who couldn't lift his shoulder past this point. Anyway, did a lot of muscle work. And again, the culmination was using sound. I got a call from his...
Whenever you say the word sound, Stephen. Yes, go ahead.
I had gotten a call from his wife about a month ago after he finished treating with us. And he was told that he just had a congenital from birth defect where the shoulder would not lift past a certain point. His wife called me to say she was having a problem sleeping. I said, what was wrong? Was there any pain or anything? She said, no. Her husband was keeping her up all night going, look what I can do! Lifting his arm up over his head through the middle of the night because according to his belief system, he was told it from birth that that's how it was. And that was very rewarding, especially to kind of,
show off?
Change the fact that somebody, according to their pediatrician, was like unable.
But he had to do that at night?
Well,
you couldn't celebrate during the day?
Well, he actually went back to work. He was retired as a truck driver.
God.
He went back to work.
A truck driver?
Yes.
Even with that, what he thought of as a congenital defect, he had a
he still managed
desire to push
get
himself.
Back. Yeah, because he was so powerfully, I guess, motivated by the ability to move his arm and to have full range.
Sure.
He wanted to do something with it and went back to work.
That's a really good story.
Thank you.
That's a really good story. We just have a few more minutes. Is there anything in particular that you would like to share with our audience about the work you've done and the work you continue to do?
Presently, I'm involved in utilizing sound. I'm forming a corporation called Chirosonics, which is designed around using sound to help expand the way that chiropractic, particularly the healing art of chiropractic, works with, as you know, tone is the whole concept that chiropractic is based upon, and utilizing sound in ways...
Well, you and I might agree on that, but I have a feeling that there are many chiropractors who might not put it that way.
Philosophies, sure.
It's just a
going back to the original
question.
Going back to the original, I guess it was D.D. Palmer talked about tone of the nervous system.
Intelligence. Okay.
Innate intelligence, what we, utilize with applied kinesiology.
Sure.
But overall, I've been working on a book like that last 2-3 years. On the book's title that came to me sitting out at the beach about 2 years ago was Man, Music, and Infinity. And that's the bridge for man between the infinite is that bridge is music, and that I'm relating it to healing as well as the ability for us to use sound, because as much as we can have the ability to be fooled optically by our eyes, you look at railroad tracks and it looks like they converge. Our ears are hardly ever fooled that way. So that by listening within our own soul, our own spirit, and by listening inwardly and not looking so much outward, we'll really come closer to the truth. And that's going to be exciting as we get that finished up.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Really good work, and I commend you on your pioneering efforts in this domain. I really do. It's funny. It's not often that people like you who are willing to step out of the mainstream, even the mainstream of chiropractic.
Yes,
we have a different mainstream here in the better world. We're creating our own mainstream. But even within that, you're willing to take so-called risks and experiment and go with what works and go with what feels right and feels good and creates a sense of peace in your patients, which obviously you're doing, and bringing it out into the world. And
we'll also be, I don't know
really, I commend you for that.
If this will air in time, but we'll be doing a benefit for the Stephanie Joyce Kahn Foundation. That'll be at Hofstra University on the 16th of September. Starts at about 5 o'clock. I'll be doing a lecture and demonstration about 8 p.m. And that's at the University Club at Hofstra University in Long Island.
Oh, wonderful. Good. I'm not sure when this will be airing, but if it airs before that, you now know that. I just want to give you a phone number so people, if they want to get in touch with you for more information about what you're up to and where you're teaching or whatever. Okay? And it is 516-593-5126. That's 593-5126, area code 516. And this is Stephen Angel, who's been on with us today. I want to thank you all for joining us on A Better World. We're very glad you're here with us yet again. And continuing this tradition, we're not on any longer Saturday mornings at 8 o'clock, but we are here at 9 every Monday morning, and we're very glad that you've all been sticking around. Love to hear from you. Please give a call at 212-420-0800. Share your thoughts, feelings, opinions, and experiences. I always appreciate them. Thanks again for watching. This is Mitchell J. Rabin, your host, and I'll see you next week.